Hello, and welcome back to the Elders Inspire Awe podcast, where elderhood is understood as the very frontier of human evolution. My name is Myra Tara, and this podcast is brought to you by the Heroes Hermitage and the Sacred Mother Elders Council. Today, we're finishing up the discussion started last week about how we might shift our idea of what senior centers can become. Our topic is From Senior Centers to Elders Councils, Top Down and Bottom Up. The good thing about this conversation, and perhaps the most hopeful thing, is that the infrastructure is already in place. Senior centers already exist. They're everywhere. They are filled with people who have raised children, built livelihoods, loved, failed, and learned from their mistakes. People who have started over again and again. So the question isn't whether elders' councils are possible. They are. The question is whether we have the inclination and the developmental imagination to invite senior centers into a deeper form. There are two broad ways to think about this, top-down and bottom-up. From a top-down perspective, the shift from senior centers to elders' councils is remarkably straightforward. The buildings already exist, transportation systems already operate, communal meals are scheduled. These gatherings are already woven into the fabric of communities all across the country, and in most cases, programming decisions are made locally, right at the center. The shift we're considering doesn't require sweeping national initiatives. It simply requires an expanded definition of what these centers do. Right now, many senior centers are framed as places that help older people occupy their time. My body responds very strongly to that idea, occupy their time. It treats time as something to be endured rather than as a living field of possibility. Elderhood opens up time. Time pressure disappears for the most part. There is time for listening, for presence, for holding, for seeing patterns that only long lives can notice. Time becomes expansive, creative, and deeply consequential. The idea of older people having to endure time is truly unfortunate because elderhood brings such a new reality. A texture of human maturity so distinct that it can be felt. Elders pay forward what has been learned, what has been distilled into pure wisdom. Many of the most pressing conditions we face today, widespread loneliness, family fragmentation, estrangement across generations, are precisely the kinds of challenges elders are uniquely equipped to meet. Elders are indispensable for any healthy society. In a previous episode, we spoke about the distinction between older adults and elders. That distinction brings us to the second way to look at this, to what must happen from the bottom up. From the bottom up, the shift from senior centers to elders councils requires that older people do the developmental work to become an elder. Only this produces the inclination and the developmental imagination to invite senior centers into a deeper form. Our culture understands childhood. It understands adolescence. It understands adulthood, especially productive adulthood. We recognize age. We recognize retirement. We even recognize longevity, living a long time. But elderhood, however, has slipped out of our shared awareness. It is a distinct stage of human maturity with its own tasks, its own responsibilities, and its own gifts. It remains largely unnamed in our culture. And because of this, many older people arrive at later life unprepared for the inner turn that this stage takes. There is no shared language for it, no communal recognition of it, no guidance for the responsibilities it prepares us for. Time passes. Depth remains uncultivated. This is not a personal shortcoming. It is a developmental gap in our culture. And it is precisely this gap that elders' councils are designed to address by restoring elderhood to its rightful place within the human landscape. This is where the work of the Sacred Mother Elders Council enters the conversation. At the heart of the Sacred Mother Elders Council is a simple and radical premise. Elderhood can and must be intentionally cultivated. Our process is a 1-year journey. It is a period of deliberate, intentional, and structured development. Over the course of the year, participants earn a deep inner coherence, a way of standing in the world that stabilizes both the self and the surroundings. A quieted soul emerges, a soul capable of hearing the very whispers of the universe, to quote Thich Nhat Hanh. When enough elders have undergone this process, something collective will form. A new class of elders, physically and emotionally well elders, deep, rich, grounded, and coherent. Unmistakable. Elders. Elders who inspire awe. Elders who function as stabilizing influences in the culture. Elders who regulate emotional climates by their very presence. Elders who orient communities toward connection. So what will it take to move from senior centers to elders' councils? It will take top-down imagination, centers willing to include programming that supports elder development right alongside social connection. It will take bottom-up courage, older adults willing to turn inward on a developmental journey that delivers the truly unexpected. This is slow work. It begins with remembering that elderhood is not an afterthought to adulthood. It is a singular destination. If this reflection resonates with you, if you feel its truth in your body, come, explore this work with us on Substack at Elders Inspire Awe. Join the conversation there. If you want to learn more about the journey to counsel, reach out to me personally at myratara@eldersinspireawe.com. We are eager to connect with you. Thank you so much for listening to the Elders Inspire Awe podcast. Until next time, be well.